Shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Yisrael, and this is another Sabbath day class. We're glad that you guys decided to spend your Sabbath with us. We want to say shalom, shalom to everyone. We hope that you have enjoyed your high holy days thus far as we're moving into the end of our year, coming very close to it. And we're glad that you decided to come with us today. We've put a lot of videos out there. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. We've oohed over a lot of things. And so this was a topic that I had put together. And I have a lot of different topics that I'm working on, but this is one in particular that I thought was interesting for us to actually deal with the captivities of Israel, because a lot of people don't know a lot about them. So what I want to do is go through this lesson. We'll talk about it and, try to go through it as efficiently as possible. And we'll stop and ask questions and do different things along the way. The captivity of the children of Israel. It says, after 200 years of existence as a nation, the 10 northern tribes of Israel were conquered by the Assyrians and taken captive. Israel was sometimes called Ephraim, named from the largest tribe, and sometimes called Samaria, named for its capital city. I wanted to be able to put that in there information for you, because a lot of times we read the Old Testament and the Most High is talking to Ephraim. And at that point, he's dealing with the northern tribes. It says, Israel's captivity began under King Hosea's reign. In his 9th year as king of Israel, the Assyrians captured the capital city, Samaria, carried away the people, taking them to several regions of Assyria. They were scattered around Mesopotamia, especially along the Euphrates River in what is now called Iraq. The region more recently ruled by Saddam Hussein. Verse 6 gives names of the cities to which the Hebrew captives were taken. When we go into 2 Kings, which is where all of this is, it goes into some details about that actual captivity. It says the captivities began approximately 740 BC, according to other sources. 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 26, it says, and the Elohim of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, king of Assyria, and the spirit of the Talgath-Nezer, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites. Hold on just one second, you guys. I want to put this on pause, because I want to make sure I got everything, because I think I might have did something. Hold on just a minute. Let me keep it. Hold on. Okay. So then we're going to deal with Samaria. Okay, because we got to deal with who Samaria is. It says Samaria, the kingdom of Israel, or the kingdom of Samaria, was an Israelite kingdom of the southern Levant during the Iron Age. The kingdom controlled the region of Samaria, Galilee, and parts of Transjordan. Its capital, for the most part, was Samaria. The other Israelite polity, the kingdom of Yehudah, lay to the south. So these are the two kingdoms that we're dealing with. We're dealing with the northern tribe and the southern tribe. This is the split that happened in Israel. A lot of people don't know this. Samaria, also called Sabbati, the modern Sabbatiyah, ancient town in central Palestine. It is located on a hill northwest of Nablus in the West Bank territory under Israeli administration since 1967. That's why I told Sister Leviah that we were going to get into that, because she was saying that now they're talking about splitting the land into two different regions. I guess one for the Palestinians and one for the Israelis. Is that correct, Sister Leviah? Our brother Yerushalayim?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see what it says. It says the city was not founded until about 880 or 879 BC, when Omri made it the new capital of the northern Hebrew kingdom of Israel and named it Samaria. It remained the capital until its destruction by the Assyrians in 722. Samaria was the capital of ancient kingdom of Israel. It was also the name of the administrative district surrounding the city until later Greek and Roman administrations, referring to the mountain regions between the Sea of Galilee to the north and Judea to the south. The territory of Samaria was the central region of the biblical land of Israel, today located in the northern West Bank. So that's probably around the area, because they've been fighting over that West Bank for a long time. It says, in the New Testament times, Samaria was rebuilt and greatly enlarged by Herod the Great, who renamed the city Sabbati in the honor of the Roman Emperor Augustus. Herod's city included an impressive temple to Augustus, strong fortification, and many features of Hellenistic cities. Okay, any questions so far? Any questions at all so far? So if they had finally succumbed to splitting that land up and making two nations, that was the whole war of the Palestinians in the first place. They were fighting over territories. So now have they agreed to give them certain territories?
Well, it was in the United Nations. They had that meeting at the United Nations, and the guy from Israel stated that that was the solution. And what's his name, Abbas or whoever from Palestine, he agreed, and that's what they're about to do. Everybody has agreed upon doing that. So it's just a matter of time now before they go ahead and divide it up.
Well, interesting.
And it's part of what the UN is saying is that that's in their best interest to do so in order to, as they say, obtain peace in that land.
So they're trying to stop the fighting so that they can get some peace, because they've been fighting ever since they've been over there. And they've been fighting those people ever since they've been over there. So that's what they're saying. In order to get peace, it's in the best interest to just give them some land, because those people are not going to go away because they've been there.
And because of the fact that they keep building the settlements there, which they're going against what the UN is telling them. Everything that the UN is telling them, they're not observing what they're saying. So now they're saying, this is the best solution for the whole problem. No, overall is what they're saying.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's see. It says Hosea was the last king of the northern tribe of Israel. He was a bad king, but not as bad as some previous kings had been. Says that the evil which Hosea did was not as great as the king of Israel that was before him. Now, he was taken into captivity by the Assyrians in 722 BC during the reign of Ahaz, king of Yehudah in the south. By leaving some Israelites behind and transplanting some captives from other foreign lands, the Assyrians set the stage through intermarriage for the beginning of a people known as the Samaritans. So these people had some Israelite blood, and they had some foreign blood. were biracial people. They were intermingled with other nations. This is how they were known as the Samaritans. And it reminds me of that movie with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. And what was it called? Oh, my goodness. And the German guy called Samuel L. Jackson the Samaritan. What was the name of that movie?
Unbreakable.
What was it?
Unbreakable.
No. This was an older movie where they were robbing New York. They were robbing the gold out of New York, but they set a bomb in one of the schools. I can't remember it. But
Die Hard 2?
Yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance. And remember, he called Samuel L. Jackson the Samaritan. You know, I'm like, why be calling the Samaritan? It says for more than 200 years, the northern tribe of Israel was ruled by a succession of 19 wicked, idolatrous kings. Some reigned only a short time, but violence and assassinations and cruelty characterized the entire period. During this time, the Assyrian Empire had grown from an obscure nation into a large world superpower. Their capital was Nineveh, and their massive armies followed the Fertile Crescent north, then west, and then south. They conquered Damascus and then moved into Galilee. Shalmaneser succeeded to Tiglath-Pileser as the Assyrian king, and he ordered a siege of the Israeli city of Samaria, which we know wasn't an Israeli city, it was an Israelite city. The tribe of Yehudah and Benjamin remained faithful to the Most High for a while. A remnant from the 10 northern tribes joins the 2 southern tribes known as Yehudah to worship the Most High in Jerusalem. Now, the remnant was a part of the Levitical priesthood as well. So that's how when the southern kingdom was completed, it was Yehudah, it was Benjamin, and it was part of the Levi tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions? We're going to get into some scriptures here to show. It says the northern kingdom, which we just went into all of that already. Let's go to the scripture. 2 Kings chapter 15, verse 23. It says, in the 50th year of Azariah, king of Yehudah, Pekahiah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned 2 years. He did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. But Pekah, the son of Remaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria in the palace of the king's house. And Argog and Ariah, and with his 50 men, the Gileadites, and killed him and reigned in his room. The rest of the acts of Pekahiah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Yehudah, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned 20 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. And in the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, the king of Assyria, and took Ijon, and Abel-Beth-Maachah, and Genoa, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Gilead, and Galilee, all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive into Assyria. And Hosea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him, and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. And the rest of the acts of Pekah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. Now, these are the stories that are taking place that we know of, that Jeroboam, now most of you, I don't know if you all know the story about what happened, but we're going to get into that. We know that David was the king of Israel, and the kingdom was complete. It was not split. And then once David died, then it passed on to his son Solomon. Well, Solomon took over the kingdom, and everybody was together. All the 12 tribes were together. And something happened between Solomon to cause the tribes to take a split. Somebody tell me what that was. What did Solomon do to cause the tribes to split?
Marry other women, that worship other gods.
He did. He married other women that worshipped other gods. But what was the main thing that he did that caused the Most High to take the kingdom from him?
He turned his back on the Most High?
He turned his back on the Most High. How did he do it? How did he turn his back? What did he do?
Worshipping false idols.
He worshipped false idols. Not only did he marry women that served other gods, which wasn't the thing that got him in trouble, but he allowed them to do what? Set up idols and images.
Idols in a palace. Yeah. Okay.
In Israel. He let them set them up around the land of Israel. And these women were bowing down to these other gods in the land of Israel. And that wasn't so bad. That was bad enough. But the problem came in when he did what?
When he bowed down. He worshipped.
Yes. When he bowed down to him, that was it. Because the Most High gave Solomon a specific command. What did he do? What did he say? He said, "Thou shalt have no other God before me." And that was the main commandment that he has given to all of the kings of Israel, whether it is southern or northern. The Most High does not play about his people worshiping other gods. They were doing it in the land of Israel, which caused the problem. Now, are we doing that today?
Yes. Knowingly, I would say no. I think people do it unknowingly.
Okay. You said unknowingly. Okay. But knowingly, you say no, right?
Well, I think that was part of the punishment, was that you would worship gods of wood and stone, but we didn't know it. That's where my point of view would come from.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you this. When I first began to include myself with the Hebrew Israelite community, I went to my first High Holy Day. And when me and Malcolm walked into it, everybody was dressed in linen. It was just, we didn't know. I mean, this was the first time we had ever did it. Everybody was dressed in linen. The men were very respectful. Shalom, shalom, my dear sister. Praise the Most High Yah. Blah, 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 blah. And they had incense burning. Everything was going on. Everything was good. And we walked over because we was just looking. We didn't know. We walked over and there was an Egyptian a picture of an Egyptian lady. You know the lady that's sitting down with the wings going out on her arm and on both arms, and they spread it out, and they had like little stuff around her, and I looked and I said, oh no. I mean, immediately my spirit said, oh no, this is not what we're supposed to do. and me and Malcolm was whispering like, what is this? You know, because we was like, you know, what's going on? Because I know the difference between Egyptian and Israelite stuff. And the brothers was like, oh no, sister, it ain't nothing wrong with that, my sister. This is all it's one, you know, we all worship, and it's a beautiful thing. And I looked at him like, no, I don't think we're supposed to be, doing this. And we politely and very nicely exited the room. So there is a lot of Israelites today that know they're Israel, and they have involved themselves in a lot of things that they're not supposed to be involved in. And I've heard them say, well, Yaina, you really don't know what that means, so you don't know whether it's right or wrong. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I know the difference between Egyptian and Israelite stuff. And I'm going to probably get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, so y'all brace yourself. I was watching the funeral of Prince Asiel on television, on YouTube, and it was very nice. It was beautiful. One, it was in a Christian church, which is what they usually do. And then two, when they got up to speak, they included the Muslim God in there too. They were also including the name of the Muslim God and saying that we all worship under, what did he say? He said we all worship Yah and Allah, and it's a wonderful thing, and you know, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. What? So it's getting interesting, I'll say that. And under no uncertain terms and under no circumstances do we ever mix other gods with us. That is a no. We don't include him with nobody else. He's not given under another name to mix up with the other gods of the other nations. We serve our own. Does anybody understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yes.
And go ahead, sis.
I was thinking, and he will share his glory with no other. And so when they start mixing different gods with the Most High, then, I mean, of course, it's something that shouldn't happen, but we can't be deceived, because I believe that's how they've kept us in bondage as long as they have us. And we're worshiping their gods and our gods, and all in the name of unity. They're trying to include that now. But that's where we draw the line, that we will not share his glory with any other.
Nobody else. No other God, no other name. And let me say this just for the purpose of people that are listening. I'm not a prayer hater. I'm not. If you praying to another God, that's the one you was given, by all means, pray on. I have no issue with that. I'm not the person that try to say that because you're black or you appear to be of Negro persuasion that you're an Israelite. We know better than that. We know that skin color doesn't determine your ethnicity or nationality. We understand those things. We get that. So I'm not against anybody's religion or who they serve. All I'm saying is for the Israelites, we serve one Elohim. And we do not mix him with another. And they have a whole campaign out here now called Coexist. And they have all of the symbols of all the religions and everybody coming together with one God known by different names. We're not included in that. That doesn't allow for us to be included. So this is what caused the split when Solomon decided to do the same thing. And see, that's why we tell everybody there's no new thing under the sun. This is what caused the split, because Solomon married all of these different women from these different nations, and all of these women brought their gods with them, and he allowed these women to set up groves and high places and images and statues and idols to their gods and in the land of Israel. And in the land of Israel, we worship the one true living Elohim. And as a result of that, he weakened himself and he began to bow down to those gods. And at that point, that's when the Most High said, that's it. That's it, it's over. So this is where we get the two kingdoms. Now, the first captivity is the northern kingdom. And this is the history of where the first captivity came in from, the northern kingdom, and the capital of the city of the northern kingdom was Samaria. Anybody have any questions so far? Because this is still a problem today. You know, like I said, being an Israelite is it's a trend now. It's a fad. You know, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Anything new, I'm an Israelite. Well, it's okay as long as everybody can still do the things they want to do. But no, we don't worship other gods. We only worship our God. He chose us to, and we are his people, and he is our Elohim.
Hallelujah.
That's why we can't go into the Christian church. They say, well, if you're Christ-like and you believe in Christ, which we do, why can't you worship in the Christian church? Because we know that the way you worship and the things you do when you worship and the practices do not reflect our Elohim. It just doesn't. So we have to steer clear in spite of the way you think it should be. I can't drive this point home enough. Because a lot of people are compromising just to be accepted. And we will not compromise. We are not going to compromise that. And I remember that Prince Asiel and I used to go back and forth about this issue all the time. He was like, well, since it's a big old world, I understand that. I do. I know it is. And I've been around the world, and I've been around these people, and you just can't be closed-minded. You have to be able to open up your mind and understand the way the world works. I couldn't knock that. The man has been everywhere. However, it still don't matter. I'm not going to compromise what he tells me not to do just so that you can feel comfortable about being included. We don't worship that God. We're not Egyptian. I'm not knocking those people that believe they're Egyptians. Be an Egyptian. I don't have no problem with that at all whatsoever. But that's not the gods we serve. That's how we got into the split. That's what caused the split. So we go to King 2 Kings chapter 17. It says let me make sure the screen is open. In the 12th year of Ahaz, the king of Yehudah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea began became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no presents to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river Gozan in the cities of the Medes. Where is the city of the Medes today? Who are the Medes?
Isn't that Iran?
That's Russia.
Russia. Okay.
Watch. Let's see the reason for the downfall of Israel. Let's see why they fell. This is the northern kingdom. We're going to see what happened. Verse 7. For so it was, the children of Israel had sinned against the Most High their Elohim, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathens, whom the Most High cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel which they had made. So they walked in the statutes of the other people. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Most High their Elohim, and they built high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchmen to the fenced cities. So what does that mean when they say they build high places? What they do?
One of the places of worship.
Worship other gods.
Other gods. Other gods. They did the same thing that Solomon, now they left and split because of what Solomon did, and then they turned around and did the same thing. Well, secretly, sneaking. Now, I don't know who they thought they were sneaking from, but they went to sneaking. Watch. And they set them up images in groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burned incense in all the high places, as did the heathen, whom the Most High carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Most High to anger. For they served idols, whereof the Most High said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing. Sounds familiar, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
I walked in the room, and the Egyptian statue was on the ground, and they had incense burning, and they prayed, Yes, shalom, my sister. I said, nah, something ain't right. Immediately, my spirit I said, oh, no, something ain't right. We need to back up out of here real quick. We still doing it. And I'm talking about people who profess to be Israelites. We still doing it. No compromise. There's no compromise, Israel. None. Either we're going to be the Most High people or we're not. Either we're going to stand up for what's right or we're not. No compromise. I have already said, if anything happens to me, don't have my funeral in nobody's church. If I don't go in there to worship, don't have my services in nobody's church. No compromise. We either going to serve Yah or we not.
Hallelujah.
This is what we've always done. This is where we've always messed up at. And we still doing it. Yeah, we becoming conscious, and yes, we're understanding who our Elohim is, but we are so easily and gullibly led astray by people who serve other things. Well, it ain't nothing wrong with this. But this is the same thing. If you go in history, I was like, look, I don't want to hear none of that. I'm getting in trouble for that again. No. Let's see what he did. The warnings. Now, the Most High sent a warning. He sent the prophets. Verse 13. Yet the Most High testified against Israel and against Yehudah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn ye from your evil ways. He always sends a warning. And keep my commandments and my statutes according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, which I sent to you by my servant the prophet. He said, don't do this. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in the Most High, their Elohim. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity. And became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about, concerning the Most High had charged them that they should not do like them. Are we not doing that today?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did. And they left all the commandments of the Most High their Elohim and made molten images. Listen to this, even to calves, and made a grove and worshipped all the host of heaven and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire and used, wait a minute, now they're getting into witchcraft, and used divination and enchantment and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Most High to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Most High was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yehudah only. Any questions? This is the reason for the first captivity. This is the reason why the northern kingdom left the united kingdom of Israel by the orders of the Most High, because the southern kingdom had already messed up and served other gods. Solomon had already put the groves in Israel. So the northern kingdom started doing right. They said, we're not going to have nothing to do with that. They left and went off and set up their kingdom, and Samaria was their capital city, and then they ended up. How do they keep doing the same thing over again?
Yeah, I asked myself that question.
What is it? I'm curious. I just want to know. What is it? Is it the way the other people worship their Elohim that make it seem like it's more appealing?
Can't be.
What could it be?
I don't think it's that. Because you look at the other nation.
Is it the women that's drawing the men away? What is it? What is it that Israel cannot focus on their own God? I'm asking the question.
I think we just want to be. I think the second thing he said was part of it. I think that we like some of the customs of the other nations. I think that's part of it. I just don't know, because it's like a recurring thing. You see the same stuff. You would think that after what happened on Mount Sinai that we would never touch another golden calf, but there it is again.
Yeah.
And the others don't have the commandments.
No.
Right. That's exactly it. They don't have the commandments. They weren't given statutes and ordinances to follow. But for some reason, we seem drawn to the vanity of the other nations and the things that they do.
Yep, the glorification for themselves.
This is the reason why they went into captivity in Assyria. This is the reason for the first captivity where the northern tribes were taken off. They're gone. It says the captivity.
And also,
go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
I was going to say also the visual element. Like, we weren't to make any images, any graven images of anything, and the others seem to have all these images.
They did, but they couldn't do nothing. They didn't produce anything. They never showed any miracle. And even though we didn't have he wouldn't allow us to make an image to anything. Our people seen things. Our ancestors saw the splitting of the Red Sea. They walked across on dry land. They saw the things that he did, and they still got to Egypt. In the wilderness and set up a golden calf.
See, I think they brought Egypt in their hearts. Although they were leaving Egypt, in their hearts they still had those customs and those rituals. That was something that they probably saw for generations. And so I think that it was in their hearts, and that's why they needed to come out of there so that they could, just as we're going to go into the wilderness, I think they need to come out of that so they can be purged. And I will not forget that before I found out who I was invited to, I forget, it was a wedding or a funeral at a Catholic church, and it was the arch cathedrals and all the pomp and circumstance and the incense and the guy walking down the aisle holding the incense. It was all, it was all captivating. So I think that could be one of our problems is we like the pomp and the circumstance and the ceremonies and all that comes with it, and which is perhaps why we need to go into the wilderness, because all that stuff needs to be purged out of our people.
That's a good point, too. All of you guys have a good point, absolutely. Because we like the fancy frill and thrill of it all.
And that still leaves man a little bit in control.
That's true. Because you feel like you're doing something special, when all of the power is his in the first place. All of it is his. And I think that they get frustrated with the Most High because even though we read about how powerful he is, and even though we study about his glory and his splendor and all the things that come with it, he shows it to us when he gets ready. He does. He shows it to us when he gets ready to do it at his own time. And everybody else makes their God seem like he has all the power, and they put the pomp and circumstance with it that makes everybody else, that make them feel like they have power. And we're drawn to what we see with our natural eyes because we don't see our God doing that all the time, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, we like to see all the glitter.
Yeah.
And there's usually somebody in the background manipulating this and getting something from it, encouraging people. Like I was thinking about, I can't remember if it was Daniel or another one, or Elijah, but where the local priests were eating the food. They thought that the people thought that the image was doing it, but the priests knew they were back to eat it. So they were controlling people.
Right, and that's right. And deceiving people, absolutely. That's true.
And don't forget the women, our men even till today are still drawn to women of other nations.
They are. And that's why the Most High told them, do not mingle with those people because they're going to draw you away from me. Do not mix with those people of the other nations because they're going to draw you away from me. And this is exactly what happened to the northern kingdom. They drew them away from the Most High. They took them away. And this is why they went into captivity. So they went in first before we even went in. Before Judah, even the southern kingdom even went in, they went away first. And Prince Raphael and I used to have this conversation all the time. Well, I mean, you have to understand the world. I understand politics. I understand that we're living under the Gentile rule, and I understand that there are governments and there are people that live in these governments and in these lands, and these people have set up lifestyles, and they live a certain way, and they have certain customs. I get all of that, but it doesn't change the fact that Israel is separate and chosen and set apart. And even if I don't never see half of the world, no matter where I go, the dietary law still stands, the high holy days still stand, and the name of our Elohim still stands. I'm not going to ever mix him with any other deity, period, not to make you feel good about yourself. Because one thing that we know for sure is these nations were given their own deities to worship. So how then do we turn around knowing this, because we've studied this, and then go into these nations on vacation or meet dignitaries from these nations and then compromise? There's no compromise. I don't know why this is going on today, but there's no compromise. Some of us have joined fraternities and sororities and all kinds. Those are Greek gods. There's no compromise. The Masonic orders and the Eastern Stars, no compromise. Somebody sent me an email about Bishop Nathaniel of the IUIC being a police officer. I always have been one. We're going to have people coming from all walks of life. They're going to be police officers, detectives, FBI agents, CIA agents, witchcraft. They're going to be in everything. They're coming from everywhere. But there's still no compromise in the Elohim that we serve. You can't compromise. I'm sorry. You can't. And then ask yourself this question. Is walking back up into the Christian church a compromise? I'm asking.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Why is it a compromise?
Because it's not the God that we serve, or we supposed to be serving.
That's not the God we serve. It's not the God we serve. We can't pretend.
It's the total opposite.
Say that again, brother. I'm sorry.
I said it's the total opposite of the scriptures.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then what they do is, this is what they do. Okay, Brother Uriah, you my son. And I say to you as you're growing up, I chose you to be my son. I created you to be my son. You my son. And if you do right and you're honest down through life and you get a good grades in school and you reverence me as your parent and I'm your mother and you do what I tell you to do. When you get older and you grow through life, I'll make sure if you need anything, I'm going to be there for you. If you need any money, I'm going to provide for you. I'm going to make sure that you have all the things that you need to help you get through life because you're my son. And this is a relationship that you and I have, and this is a promise that I made to you as my child. And as a result of that, you write down in the book what I tell you that I've said to you what I'm going to do for you. And then Brother Yerushalayim come along, and he reads what you done wrote down that I've said to you from one parent to a son, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, if I do what I'm supposed to do, and I get good grades in school, and I make sure I show her some respect, and I do all the stuff I'm supposed to do, then she's going to do the same thing for me. And then Brother Yerushalayim in turn goes and tells Sister Lavinia, well, guess what I read? I read that Sister Yaina said to Brother Uriah, her son, she was going to do this, and this. And if you do the same thing, she going to give you the same thing. Is that true?
No.
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 And this is what fuels their Sunday morning services. Because they'll go back into the Old Testament. They'll read a scripture or a conversation from the Old Testament that Yah is talking to the children of Israel. And he's saying, if you do X, Y, and Z, I'll do X, Y, Z in the third. And then they'll turn around and say, now God said, if he told the children of Israel, if they do it, then he was going to protect them. So he's the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. He's going to do the same thing for you. And people start running and jumping and shouting. And is that deception or what?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
I never told you, Brother Yerushalayim, that I was going to do for you what I was going to do for Uriah. Because Uriah is my son. I made that promise to him because I'm his parent. But I never told you that I was going to do it for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is where the deception is.
It's like the replacement theology, basically.
Absolutely. And everybody go to running, jumping, and screaming, and hooping, and hollering, and speaking in tongues. And it's like, no, that was a conversation that was between the people and their Elohim. That's what that was. It was made public. But it was really a conversation between a people and their God. I'll prove it to you. Here we go. Here go the screen. Hosea the prophet. The captivity of the 10 tribes, the northern kingdom of Israel, resulted from their wickedness. The prophet Hosea predicted that the northern kingdom would never be set up again. Oh, that was the last time for that kingdom. Watch. And while a remnant of people from each of the northern tribes had earlier settled in Yehudah and perpetuated their identity there, and were thus spared from being taken captive by the Assyrians, the northern kingdom as a nation has never been restored. The 2 sticks. Hosea 1. Ain't that something? Never been restored. Never will be restored again. Never will be restored again. Because the next time we all come together, we're going to come together as one nation again. Hosea chapter 1. The word of the Most High came unto Hosea the son of Beeri in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Yehudah, in the days of Jeroboam the son of Joash, king of Israel. The beginning of the word of the Most High by Hosea. The Most High said to Hosea, go, and take unto thee a wife of whoredom and children of whoredom. For the land hath committed great whoredom, departing from the Most High. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son. And the Most High said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will revenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And the Most High said unto him, Call her name Lo-ruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. But I will have mercy upon the house of Yehudah, and will save them by the Most High their Elohim, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horse, nor by horsemen. Any questions at all whatsoever? So they really did bad.
So the last. Verses.
Go ahead, Sister Levy. I'm listening.
So the last chapter that you read, what nation was the woman that he married?
The house of Israel nation, the northern kingdom. He said, go marry you a woman of whoredom, because she's going to represent the house of the whole house of Israel, the northern kingdom. Because they did so bad, they created so much wickedness that they would no more ever exist as a kingdom. And this crazy guy I knew told me one time, he said, I believe that's what I'm supposed to do. I said, what is that? I'm supposed to marry a hooker. Now listen to this crazy stuff. Because the Most High told Hosea to do that because, it was to show him that he loved everybody. Complete something from Christianity. Crazy stuff. I said, that is not what that means. Yes, it is. That's why he married Gomer. I'm like, oh, my. Listen, this is about the children of Israel.
What tribe is Gomer from?
Now, you know what? That's a really good question. That's a real good question. It does not say. It just tells him, let's go back. It says, the word of the Most High, the beginning of the word of the Most High by Hosea, and the Most High said to Hosea, go, take thee unto thee a wife of whoredoms, and the children of whoredoms, probably from the northern tribe. He said, because for the land has committed great whoredoms, and I'm going to look that up as soon as this is over, departing from the Most High. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son, and it shall come to pass that at that day, let me make sure I didn't move, and he said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And the Most High said unto him, call her name Lo-ruhamah, for I will no have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. But I will have mercy upon the house of Yehudah, and will save them by the Most High their Elohim, and will not save them nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. And these are the sins that they did. They worshiped pagan idols. They was wicked. They mocked the prophets. They got involved in witchcraft and the occult. They passed their kids through the fire. They had idolatry. They did all those things. It says, because of these sins, Yah permitted Assyria to conquer the nation Israel. He raised up the enemy and brought them into Palestine to destroy the people. When Samaria, the capital city of the northern kingdom, fell, the rest of Israel soon fell to the enemy also. The prophets at that time was Hosea, Isaiah, and Micah had warned of the judgment to come. Every one of the 19 kings had walked in the sins of Jeroboam. Any questions? Somebody's phone is clicking or something. I don't know what that is. Anybody have any questions at all? These people did wickedness. They was wicked. After they saw the wickedness of, this is the person who walked away from Solomon. Jeroboam is the one who walked away from Solomon. Jeroboam is the one who took the northern kingdoms in the beginning away when the kingdom was split. And he ended up doing wickedness. So the sister was right. You know, the ones who don't know any better, they don't know any better. But the ones who do, and we continue to do it, it's not going to change nothing. I don't know whose phone that is, you guys, but hold on just 1 minute. I'm going to have to figure out where that's coming from. It's not going to change anything. Because every time we got in trouble, it was an issue. We always ended up doing that. And it was like, why in the world did this happen? You know? Anybody have any questions? All right, well, let's take a moment and see who Jeroboam was, because a lot of people evidently don't know who Jeroboam was. Does anybody know who Jeroboam and where he stood for or where he came in? Let me bring him in the story so we can understand. 1 Kings chapter 12. Now, Rehoboam was Solomon's son. Rehoboam was the son that was born unto Solomon by a Hebrew Israelite mother. He was the one who took the throne. He was the firstborn son by Solomon with a Hebrew Israelite mother. Because remember, Solomon married an Egyptian woman first. And of course he had children. And they made it very clear that whoever sat on the throne of Israel, the mother and the father had to be an Israelite. So Rehoboam's mother was an Israelite. He was the firstborn Israelite son of Solomon. Here we go. 1 Kings chapter 12. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king. And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of the king Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt. Solomon was going to try to kill him, because Solomon found out that the kingdom had been ripped from him. They told Jeroboam, run to Egypt and stay in Egypt until Solomon is dead. Don't come back until after he's gone. So now Solomon is gone. Rehoboam is about to be crowned king. And they went and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, thy father made our yoke grievous. In other words, Solomon was a rough king. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee. And he said unto them, Depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, How do you advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and wilt serve them and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, which stood before him. And he said unto them, What counsel give ye, that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, Make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter? Watch what the youngins say. And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou speak to this people that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter to us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. Watch what he say. And now whereas my father did lade ye with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father has chastened you with whips, but I will chasten you with scorpions. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the 3rd day, as the king had appointed, saying, Come to me again the 3rd day. So they walking in there. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old man's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father also chastened you with whips, but I will chasten you with scorpions. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Most High, that he might perform his saying, which the Most High spake by Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in Dawid? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tent, O Israel. Now see to thy own house, Dawid. So Israel departed unto their tent. But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Yehudah, Rehoboam reigned over them. At that point, they split up and they went their separate ways. They split up and they went their separate ways. Then King Rehoboam sent to Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he did die. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel rebelled against the house of Dawid unto this day. And it came to pass, when all the congregation heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Yehudah only. And when Jeroboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Yehudah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Jeroboam the son of Solomon. But the word of the Most High came unto Shemaiah the man of Yah, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Yehudah, and unto all the house of Yehudah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith the Most High, Ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house. So they was getting ready to go make war to try to unite the kingdom again, but the Most High said, No, don't do it. Watch. For this thing is from me. They hearkened therefore before the word of the Most High, and returned to depart according to the word of the Most High. Then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Most High at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Elohim, even unto Rehoboam king of Yehudah. And they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam king of Yehudah. So Jeroboam is saying, now look, I done built all this stuff and took these people away from here. If they go back up to Jerusalem to worship there, they're going to want to stay there. And they're going to end up killing me and going back to the kingdom of Yehudah. Whereupon the king took counsel, now look at what he did, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold our gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. How did he do that?
I don't know. That's just.
How did that happen? Is it ego? Was it the years he spent in Egypt? Was he in Egypt worshiping other gods? How did he get to the point where they made him king over the northern kingdom? He took 9.5 of the tribes with him and set up a whole nother kingdom, and they made him king over the northern tribe of Israel. And he ended up building 2 golden calves for them to worship, and walked away from the God of Israel. I'm asking, because I'm at a loss. I don't understand where the disconnect came from. What is it?
I mean, I wish I could say, Sister Yana. It's just unfathomable they would do that.
She's very baffling.
He made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Don't even worry about going up there to worship. Behold thy gods. He said, worship thee, O Israel. And he set the one in Bethel and put the other, and the other he put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made a house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. So he set up his own priesthood. I don't.
Sounds like rebellion. That sounds like rebellion. It just sounds like he just flipped the coin and went totally the opposite direction. I think he was under some evil spirit, because, I mean, they should have known that this is offensive to the Most High Yah, but I think that was rebellion.
Had to be. This is the 9.5 tribes, you guys. This is what happened. He made his own priesthood, made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam ordained a feast. Listen to this now. He got his own feast. In the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Yehudah, and he offered up on the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made, and he placed in Bethel the priest of the high places which he had made. So So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart. So while they were sacrificing the real feast, the northern kingdom was sacrificing a fake feast, and they was offering sacrifices to golden calves. And ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar and burnt incense. Anybody have any responses? Anything?
It sounds like people who are put into a position of power or whatever, and one person, when they're not in that position, and once they get in that position, they get the big head, and it sounds like this is what he did, where his head was swell and he forgot where he came from.
Yeah. I mean, quick. Something happened. You think it was power, prestige and power. Some people get in a position, like you said, they get prestige, they get power, they get notoriety, and they want to be the star of the show. And he just totally defied the Most High. Watch, it says, but Israel insisted on worshiping his idols until there was no remedy. And Yah removed Israel from the land. The people of the northern kingdoms were departed to Assyria. Their national identity was erased. The nation disappeared from the scene. He wiped them. Nobody knows where they at to this day. So many people ask, where's the northern kingdom? They dispersed. Any courses out, they dispersed. They're gone. Now we know why they gone. This was the first captivity. Now we know why they gone. They had their own priesthood. They set up their own stuff. They were like, oh, we got. These people wasn't even Levites that they had as the priest. And then when you get into these, when you really get into this, then you start understanding why you have to be careful with some of the books you're reading and some of the alternative stuff you're reading, because some of these people have put this stuff together in some of these books that's off. And they mixed with the other nations and created their own cultures. They went all the way back to Egypt.
I was just doing a little bit of reading about Jeroboam, and it says that he married an Egyptian princess.
No wonder. So again, he said, guess what he did? He set up the god from the woman that he married. They put him in position. And he set up a god for the woman that he married. He set up the golden calf to acknowledge Egypt again. And the people followed suit. So it wasn't in their heart to really serve Yah, because if you really go back when they said, if your father made our yoke heavy, they just didn't want to work hard. If you can lighten the load, we'll serve you. It wasn't about Yah, because if it was, they would have kept him in their heart. It was about them. And when they got away from the southern kingdom, you could tell that it wasn't about Yah. That's why I told y'all, under no circumstances do we compromise. For nobody and no reason. He chose us to be his people. He chose us to be the ones to represent him in the earth. And everybody else has taken this Bible and these scriptures and this word and his prophecies, and they have watered it down to make it be something less than what it is. And only we can represent him in the earth. The Gentile can't even represent him in the earth until they know who he is. Any question? That's why salvation is to the Jew first and then unto the Gentile. The Samaritans. After the fall of Samaria, it was repopulated with people from the regions about Babylon. These people intermarried with those left in Israel and became a new mongrel race known as the Samaritans. In 721 BC, the northern kingdom of Israel fell to Assyria. Many of the people of Israel were led off to Assyria as captives, but some remained in the land and intermarried with foreigners planted there by the Assyrians. These half-Jewish, half-Gentile people became known as the Samaritans. This new population brought into the land their own form of worship, including the shameful practice of passing children through the fire. Okay, I'm going to put everybody on mute for a minute until we finish this, because somebody's phone is doing something, and I'm almost finished. So just give me 1 second, and I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll open up the phone call so we can discuss it. Their gods were manifestations of the pagan god Moloch. It was during those years that in the northern part of Israel, lions began to multiply beyond control. Samaritans are first mentioned in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. Babylon had given way to the Persian Empire. Nehemiah was favored by the king and was able to return to Jerusalem to rebuild. The Samaritans remaining in the land opposed the rebuilding of the temple and caused problems for Nehemiah and his fellow workers, this was the beginning of a long-lasting hatred between the Jews and the Samaritans. Almost the most significant difference between the Samaritans and the Jews is the site which they believe Yah chose for his dwelling. While the Jews hold that Yah chose Mount Zion in Jerusalem, Samaritans believe he chose Mount Gerizim in Shechem. So they had two different mountains. That's why I said you got to watch what information and who wrote what information. Because they were setting up something different in Shechem, and the Israelites were setting up Mount Zion in Jerusalem, and they were competing against each other, trying to figure out which one was which. After the Babylonian exile, the Samaritans built a temple on Mount Gerizim, and the Jews built a temple on Mount Zion. So you had two totally different temples by two totally different groups of people. This remains a considerable matter of dispute between the two communities, and in the 2nd century BC, the temple on Mount Gerizim was destroyed by the Maccabean ruler John Hyrcanus. The low esteem that Jews had for the Samaritans was the background of Christ's famous parable of the Good Samaritan. They had an issue with them because they were in competition with them the whole time. They were in competition with them the whole time. I'm going to open up y'all's mic because I want to know what you think. That's why I say you got to be real careful with some of the stuff that we're reading and all the stuff, because everything you read is even though they claim they was Israelite, that was a whole different breed of people that wasn't even acknowledged during that time. Any questions? Any questions, comments of any kind? And see, this is stuff that we didn't even know. We didn't even know about a second temple and another mountain. We didn't know nothing about this. Anybody have a comment, a question? Did anybody have anything?
Yahushua go to Samaria to when he talked with the woman at the well?
He did. I had that on here. He did. Now it's beginning to make sense, ain't it? When she said our father Jacob built this well, because she felt like she was an Israelite. She's like, our father Jacob built this well. Absolutely. Yeah. Hold on, I'm still opening mic. Give me a minute. I'm coming. Yes, makes all the sense in the world now, don't it?
And I don't know if you heard me, but didn't that woman at the well also, or one of them said that our fathers worship, said that this is where we worship, at this mountain, when she was talking to Christ.
Absolutely. I have it right here. I'm getting ready to pull it up in 1 second. I most certainly do. Yes, ma'am. And that's exactly what she was talking about. That's exactly what she was talking about. Because they were considered Sumerians. They weren't considered Israelites. They were considered Sumerians, even though they were Israelites. They felt like they were Israelites. You know? They felt like they would. This is what they was. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. No question about it. No question. Yes, indeed.
I find it interesting. It seems like we're replaying that whole scene over again.
Yeah, real talk. Absolutely. Here go the Samaritan woman. This is in Luke chapter 4. It says, now for the Most High knew how the Pharisees had heard that Yahushua made and baptized more disciples than John, though Yahushua himself baptized not but his disciples. He left Judea and departed again into Galilee, and he must needs go through Samaria. Then cometh he to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parcel of the ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Yahushua therefore being weary with his journey sat thus on the well. It was about the 6th hour. Now there cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yahushua said unto her, give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. So the contention was there. The strife was there. And Yahushua answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of Yah, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou wouldst have asked him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman saith unto him, sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well and drank thereof, himself and his children and his cattle? Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. Watch. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. The woman said unto him, sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. And Yahushua said unto her, go call thy husband and come hither. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yahushua said unto her, thou hast well said, I have no husband. He said, for thou hast had 5 husbands, and he of whom thou now hast is not thy husband. In that saith thou truly. I mean, he reading her, boy, like you had 5 of them, boy. The woman saith unto him, sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our father, now listen, our father worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. This is the separation between the two mountains. Watch. Yahushua said unto her, woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither worship in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. Yah is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. The woman said unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things. Yahushua said unto her, I that speak unto thee am he. And upon this came his disciples, and marveled that he talked with the woman. Yet no man said, What seekest thou, or why talkest thou with her? The woman then left her water pot, and went her way into the city, and saith unto the men, Come see a man which told me all things that ever I did. Is not this the Christ? Any questions at all whatsoever. So that makes the distinction that at the end of the day, this is what it was about. It was a problem with the fact that we had the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, and when Christ came, he came to the southern kingdom because the northern kingdom had already been dispersed, and some of them had intermingled, and they were not considered to be Jews. Any questions? This clears up a lot of things, I think, for a lot of people. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, ma'am.
Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
He came to the southern kingdom because the southern kingdom had the authenticity necessary to be able to preserve the bloodline. They were the ones that were still somewhat intact with holding the culture, holding the identity, holding the necessary things to be able to be considered to be the southern part of the Israelite people. The northern kingdom had went off and intermingled into other nations. Sometimes they were considered and called Ephraim. Sometimes they were considered and called Samaria. Any questions at all? Pretty informative stuff, huh?
Yes,
very. Yes.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
No, just saying it's
just
very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's like, well, where's the northern kingdom? They dispersed. But the Most High know his people. And when the time comes, he's going to bring them all together. That's why Judah has to go first. That's why Judah's going to be moved out first. It makes
well, it certainly allows you to be able to see the game board a lot more broader.
Yeah, absolutely. Puts everything in perspective. Like, okay, then, not that he is ever going to leave anybody out, but he knows what he's doing. That's why he went to the southern. He went to Judah because that's who he had to go to first. That's where salvation is, to the Jew first, and then to the Gentile. And some of them Gentiles out there might be Jews, Israelites from the north. We don't know. But he knows his people. He will bring the 12 tribes back together. He will do that. Or at least they think they Gentiles anyway. Let's say it like that. Because there's a whole lot of them that think they Gentiles. Now, what get me is they set up their own mountain. They had their own mountain. They just said, forget Mount Zion. We're going to set up our own mountain. And y'all going to come to this mountain. Seriously, they just had a makeshift system set up. They had their own feast days. They set up their own mountain. They had their own priesthood tribe that was not a part of the Levitical priesthood. That's why you don't compromise under any circumstance. I don't care what you talking about. I don't care who you talk. We serve one Elohim. We serve the true and living Elohim. We not mixing with nobody, with no other nations and no other gods under no circumstances. Because somebody in the earth has to represent Yah, and that has to be us.
Hallelujah.
Well, sister, you think he can be called by other names? No, he can't be. He already told you what his name was. And since he came in the New Testament, his name is Yahushua. And Yah is the Father. Period.
You see it right there. You worship you know not what.
Yeah, he did tell him that, didn't he?
Yeah.
He said, we know who we worship. For real, you lost. Y'all done created y'all own stuff over here. You don't even know what you talking about. Talking about our Father's worship in this mountain. Girl, stop. And they believed that. Because guess what? It was a tradition that had been passed down among them. This Jacob's well, Jacob is y'all's father, and they really felt like they was a part of it. He said, no. And that's exactly what we seeing now.
Yeah.
When we look at the people over in Israel today. That's exactly what we're seeing. They got their own priesthood. They can set up their own temple. They doing their own makeshift stuff. They doing what they supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Torah, they are really their own religion. It's not that. It's loosely linked to Torah.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, this is just, let me end the session. You guys, I just want to thank you all for joining our learning lesson today, our Sabbath class. Please feel free to join us again. We will be on the radio tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be doing our Blog Talk Radio show. Please join. The number is 718-664-9511. We're going to end the session right now. We thank you again for joining us with the Nation of Yehudah, with the School